the 5th and the 6th schedule, the tribal rights and the tribal groups, the 5th schedule and the 6th schedule. Okay. So, these are some of the things I would like to discuss, simple things, please concentrate, do not type any more questions. I hope you, you got the answers. Anyway, so according to, and when it comes to tribal community, the scheduled tribes, the tribal groups, okay. So, we are talking about that. Okay. So, first of all, Article 366 and 25, okay. 366(25) says that a scheduled tribes are those communities. Who are the scheduled tribes? Are those communities, who are scheduled in accordance with Article 342, okay, are mentioned under Article 342, okay. They are scheduled under Article 342 of the Constitution, okay. So, scheduled tribes are those communities who are scheduled or who are listed in accordance to Article 342 of the Constitution, and Article 342 says only those communities who are scheduled under Article 342, and 342 says only those communities who are been declared as such by the President, only those who are declared as such by the President through an initial public notification, okay, through an initial public notification will be declared as scheduled tribe, okay. It has to be declared by the President. Article 342 says that only those who are declared as such by the President through an initial public notification will be treated as a scheduled tribe, okay. So, a group who are declared by the President, okay, a group who are declared by the President through an initial public notification. Now, no criteria. So, another very interesting thing about constitutionally, it is only said that 340 article Article 342 says only those who are declared by President of India will be treated as scheduled tribe, but no criteria is prescribed in the Constitution regarding who can be declared. No criteria is prescribed, but certain norms are followed, These norms are based on the 1931 census definition. See, during 1931 census, during the British time, we conducted a racial classification also. Caste census was also conducted, caste census and a racial census was conducted. Even though racial discrimination or racial classification was a scientific process. Now we have discredited it, we are not using it anymore, but 1931 even had a racial classification. Even though we do not accept that racial classification, there is no scientific basis today. It was only on the basis of the physical appearance and the skin color and the hair shape and all. They used to classify people, the blacks, the whites, the yellowish skin people, like that. Anyway, so 1931 census, then the first backward class commission under the Kaka Kalelkar committee of 1955. See, please remember, there was no concept of other backward classes, OBC concept was not there in the beginning. So, the President of India used to appoint backward class commissions, and the first backward class commission was appointed in 1955 under the leadership of Kaka Kalelkar, and their report regarding the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. So, that was another one. Then there was a 1965 Lokur committee, 1965 Lokur committee. Also, it was a committee on scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. Then there was another committee called Chanda committee in 1967. Chanda committee of 1967. They all talked about who all can be scheduled tribes. So, 1931 census definition. The first backward class commission under Kaka Kalelkar, only 2 backward class commissions appointed in India. Second was BP Mandal commission. First was Kalelkar commission, 1955. Mandal commission was in 1970s. Then 1965, the Lokur committee, a parliamentary committee, and a Chanda committee, 1967. They all talked about who all can be the scheduled tribes. And based on this, certain, in a well established and accepted criteria is there today, a well established and accepted criteria. And accepted criteria regarding who can be, or who all can be declared as a scheduled tribe by the president, or rather what should be the criteria adopted to identify a community as scheduled tribe. And some of them include: number 1, indications of primitive traits. Indications of primitive trait. Number 2, a distinctive culture. Distinctive culture. Number 3, geographic isolation. Geographic isolation. Geographic isolation. Then number 4, reluctance of contact with outside communities. Okay, reluctance of contact. Many of the tribal communities normally won't intermingle with other communities that easily. They always maintain a distance. Many a times, they are even afraid of having contact with others because they don't know, because there is no habit of doing all these things. Reluctance of contact with outside community is a very important factor to identify a tribal community. See, relative indications of primitive traits can be there, distinctiveness of the culture, distinctive culture, geographic isolation, reluctance of contact with outsiders, and also number 5, backwardness. Backwardness. So, these are the traits identified by, it has evolved over a period of time in India. And even today, many communities are demanding that they should be added in the scheduled tribe list. Even in 2020, there are communities who will demand. See, if in the last 70 years they could not tell the government that we are actually backward or we are scheduled tribe, even now if they are pushing, the only reason is political thing, the politically motivated pressure is there on the government to declare new communities as scheduled tribes even now, quite unfortunately. That is how the pressure goes. Anyway, but you might not have heard anybody being declared as a scheduled tribe that easily. It is not possible now. It should not be also. You cannot keep on expanding the scheduled tribe list. Already, we have identified. So, there is a well established procedure also. Even if there is a demand, it is not that easily met, or it is not met at all. In the last many, I will say many decades, we have not added any new community into the list. It should not be also. because if somebody is a tribe, we could have identified already, and when after 70 years of independence, if you are realizing that I am a tribe, that means it is because of political pressure and political motivation. Anyway, so that is how. And if you look at a bit of data, I mean, just for your understanding, in the 2001 census, there were 84 million tribal community members, and it was almost 8.2% of the population. And in 2011, they would have been around 100 million plus, slightly around 100 million scheduled tribe population are there in 2011, around 8.2% of the population of the country. And the decadal growth rate, see, in 2011, the growth rate of population in India was around 17.65%. The overall, in compared to the previous decade. See, just to have an idea, our population in 2001 was 1,027 million, and in 2011 it became 1,210 million. So, what is the growth rate? Growth rate is the difference 100 and if you subtract this 1027, 1210 and 1027, that is 3, then 3 plus 8. So, 183 million you added. So, what is the decadal growth rate? Decadal growth rate is 183 divided by 1027 is equal to 17.65% into 100, of course. That is how decadal growth rate is calculated. Subtract and add. Anyway, so this is a formula, very simple for you, just for your understanding, I have done it for you. Now, if you look at the decadal growth rate of tribal population, it is slightly more than the national average. Okay. The decadal growth rate of the tribal population, if you are adding, if you are calculating, you can find that it is slightly more than the national average. Slightly more, but not much different. See why? Then again, population growth rate, please understand, is the, if you look at the formula population growth rate, it is birth rate minus death rate plus or minus migration. See, there is no migration from our country, so there, but so this is a factor of what? This is a factor of birth rate and death rate. See, if a particular community is increasing, it is not that always birth rate is increasing. If the death rate is declining, also the population will increase. If the death rate is less, population will increase. So, please understand, when we say the population growth rate of the tribal communities are slightly more than the national average, that does not mean that they have more birth rate or anything. It is also because of lower death rate. These days especially, because of the improved health care facilities in the tribal areas and the villages and the remote places, we are able to control the death rate. Unnecessary death has been controlled, even malaria deaths and other things have been controlled substantially. Because of that reason, the death rate is less, and then the population growth rate is slightly high. So, otherwise nothing much to talk about that is the situation. And then another point I would like to say, this tribal population of around 100 million population, and they are around 8.2% of the total population. But if you look at the area they cover, because many of these tribal communities are living in the forested areas and all, they occupy almost 15% of the area of the country. Okay. Since the tribal communities are living in forested or near the forest environment, they occupy more area, quite natural. So, tribal communities occupy almost 15% of area of the country. These are all government data, official data I am talking, okay. So, no there should not be any confusion about all these things, and but they are only 8.2% of the population of the country. And as far as the total, according to Article 342, the definition and the declaration, according to the government notification or after the declaration by the President, we have 700 plus scheduled tribes in India. The total number of tribal communities in India are 700 plus, slightly more than 700. So, different tribes are been named as scheduled tribes in India. 700 plus communities have been named as scheduled tribes in India, and out of those, most of the tribal communities are in the central Indian belt. This will be very interesting for you, because 100 million population, more than 80%, almost 80% of the 100 million are in central India. Okay. Central India means like Orissa, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, even Telangana, then Maharashtra, Karnataka, Gujarat, then Rajasthan. So, this belt, the central India, 80% of the tribal communities are here, and northeast accounts for only 12% of the tribes. If 100 million are there, only 12 million are in northeast, around 12 million, that is all. 88% are outside northeast, and more than 80% in these 5-6 states which I have mentioned. So, the central Indian tribal belt, central India has the maximum number of tribal communities, 700 plus communities are there, 700 plus, and out of the states, out of the 700 tribes, I said 700 different tribes in the country, just for your understanding, Orissa has maximum number of tribal communities. It was surprising for you. Orissa has 62 different tribes. 62 communities, out of 700, 62 communities are in Orissa alone. And number 2, the second highest number of communities are in Karnataka. Karnataka has 50. Maharashtra has 47. Many of you may not be even imagining that 47 different tribal groups or tribal communities are there in Maharashtra, 50 in Karnataka. Generally our mindset goes to Chhattisgarh or Madhya Pradesh and all. Madhya Pradesh, yes, it is 46. Madhya Pradesh, we have 46. But maximum number is in Orissa, 62. West Bengal also is there, but these are central India, or rather the peninsular India, south of the North Indian plains. In the peninsular India, we have most of the tribal community. Orissa 62, Karnataka 50 tribes, 50 different tribes, Maharashtra 47, Madhya Pradesh 46. That is the breakup of the communities. And then just one more point I would like to talk about. There are very famous, I mean we talked about in the current affairs also, some of the, see, Andaman Nicobar Islands. The total percentage of the tribes in Andaman Nicobar Islands only 8%. If 100 people are there in Andaman, only 8 are tribes. But some of the very famous, I already, the great Andamanese, Jarawa, Onge, Sentinelly, Great Andamanese, Jarawas, Onge, Sentinelese, they are all in the Andaman belt, Andaman Islands, they are all Negrito tribes. They belong to the primitive, one of the most primitive communities, Negritos, like the black community with the curly hair. And a couple of Mongoloids are also there, that is Shompen, Nicobaris. They are the Mongoloids in Nicobar Islands. Mongoloids are those people, the with the the yellowish skin, flat face, straight hair, our northeastern people, that in Tibet, in Southeast Asia, in China, in Japan, all will come under the Mongoloid category, Mongoloid racial classification. Anyway, I am not getting into the detail, but just for an understanding. Okay. So, these are the famous in Andaman Nicobar, and also in states like in South India, especially in the the South Indian southern Western Ghats, the southern Western Ghats region, in the Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, that corner in that region, the Kerala, Karnataka and also Tamil Nadu, this region in the South Indian belt, South Indian Western Ghats, southern Western Ghats, again very few number, total population is few, but some very famous tribes are there. For example, in Kerala we have Chola Naikan. In Kerala, communities like Chola Naikan. Then Kadar, Kurumba. These are all again the Negrito tribes, okay, in this region, very famous. That is why I am just telling, but the numbers are very less. The number of the tribal communities are very less, but the absolute number is less, but these are different tribal groups. Okay. In fact, then in Tamil Nadu, again since it is in the same belt, same region, in Tamil Nadu also you have Kattu Naikan. Then Kota, then Toda, then Kurumba, same in Kerala also, and also another community called Irula. This Irula community is very famous for their ability to catch snakes. Okay, in fact, a couple of years before, some of these Irula community members were taken to Florida in USA, because the Florida in that marshy land, huge pythons are there, and they were finding it extremely difficult to catch them, and these Irula, a couple of them were taken to train Americans how to catch snake. So, and they taught them and came back, it seems. Anyway, so they are very Irula community is very famous for catching snakes. They have extreme skills in catching the snakes, it seems. Anyway, so these are some of the famous ones. Now, what and I would like to say here is, out of the 700 communities, some of these communities are declared as most primitive among the tribes. The most primitive among the tribes, they are known as particularly vulnerable tribal groups. They are known as particularly vulnerable tribal groups, PVTG. So, around 75 of them out of the 700, 75 communities are declared as PVTG, or particularly vulnerable tribal groups. Particularly vulnerable tribal groups, 75 of them. And what is the criteria? That is also there. The criteria is number 1, pre-agricultural level of technology. Pre-agricultural level of technology. Number 2, stagnant or diminishing population. Stagnant or diminishing population. Population is declining, diminishing, or the population number is going down. Number 3, extremely low literacy. Okay. So, pre-agricultural level of technology. What is the criteria to declare a particular tribal group particularly vulnerable tribal group? Particularly vulnerable tribal group. Extremely low literacy. Extremely low literacy. Number 4, subsistence level of economy. Okay. And all of them except a 1 or 2 out of the 75, all of them are found in the central India or the peninsular India. In fact, out of this except 3, 1 in Tripura and except 2 rather, and 1 in Manipur, 73 of them are in, 73 out of 75 are in central India or either the peninsular India or in Andaman Nicobar. Okay. Peninsular India or in Andaman Nicobar Islands. Only 2 of the 75 are in northeast India, 1 is in Manipur, and that community's name is known as Maram Nagas, a place called Maram Naga community in Manipur. They are declared as a particularly vulnerable tribal group. And another one, these are all the government defined, okay, please understand, these are been defined by the ministry, identified, and I gave the criteria also. And the second one is in Tripura, they are known as Riangs. So, Maram Nagas of Manipur and Riangs of Tripura, they are the only 2 communities in northeast who are declared as particularly vulnerable tribal groups. All others are in either in peninsular India or in Andaman Nicobar Islands. Okay. So, that is the situation. And now, coming to the constitutional provision, these are some of the data, and just to add one more point before I go to the constitutional provision. See, most of the tribal community members, naturally, they are away from any urbanization, and more than 90% in most of the states, except in the northeastern states, most of the tribal communities are rural. They live in the rural setup, more than 90%. Okay. So, except in some of the northeastern states, almost 90% are in rural settlement. Then in 2011 one census, I mean, of course, they are not much different. The 45% of the tribal communities were cultivators. I am just giving you 2001 census data, but it may not be much different, slight difference here and there now. 45% were cultivators. Then 37% were agricultural laborers. Okay, 37% were agricultural laborers. So, cultivators plus agriculture, that means agricultural laborer means they have no land of their own. 45 plus 37, this has become 82%. बचा क्या है फिर? 82%. And so that means more than 80% were either belonging to agriculture or agriculture laborers, and most of them are into a primitive or the primary sector, primitive agriculture, not a modern agriculture. Okay, they are in the subsistence agriculture. So, more than 80% are engaged in subsistence agriculture. So, that shows that the poverty level will be very high, because if you are engaged in subsistence agriculture, the poverty level will be very high. You cannot, there cannot be what you call any major income, and there cannot be too much of surplus. 80% are engaged in subsistence agriculture, and no wonder in 2004-5 when it was looked, almost 50% of the tribal communities are living below poverty line in rural areas. 2004-5 figures I am talking, almost 50% are BPL, below poverty line. So, that is quite understandable, because they were engaged in more than, if 80% of the population are engaged in subsistence agriculture or agricultural laborers below poverty line, no wonder that is not a wrong figure, and you can immediately conclude. Now, coming to the constitutional provisions. Constitutional provisions for the tribal communities. Some of them are general, some of them are specific. For example, we have Article 14, all are equal before law. Article 15, no one shall be discriminated only on the basis of their caste, sex, religion, place of birth or race. Okay. Then there are special provisions for scheduled tribes, Article 15 and 16, special provisions. Right. Then constitutionally, Article 338A, this provides for National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. See, 338 originally was National Commission for Scheduled Caste and Scheduled Tribe. Now, 338A, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes separately now. Again, that was 89th Amendment Act 2003. Now, we have a national 338B also now, National Commission for other backward classes. Now, we have created one more 338B, that is National Commission for backward classes, other backward classes, that 338B has been created now by the Narendra Modi government recently. Okay. So, 338A and 338B, 338A for the scheduled tribes. Then also 339, Article 339 deals with appointment of a commission, to report on the scheduled areas, appointment of a commission to report on the scheduled areas, meaning President of India can appoint a commission to look into the scheduled areas. I will come to that. That is where the 5th and 6th schedule I am talking. Okay. Scheduled areas. 340, appointment of a commission to look into the conditions of the scheduled tribes. So, 339, commission for scheduled areas. 340, appointment of a commission to look into the conditions of the scheduled tribes. So, areas are different, scheduled tribes are different. Appointment of a commission to look into the conditions of scheduled tribes. 340. 342, the president, or to notify a community to be scheduled tribe by the President of India. The president can notify a community as scheduled tribe. That is 342. 340, appointment of a commission to look into the conditions of the people, and this commission, based on the commission report, President of India can recommend or notify a particular community as a scheduled tribe. 339, a commission can be appointed only to look in the scheduled areas. We will come to that, what is the scheduled area, right. And there are also some of the economic provisions as well as some political. These are in the parliament and the representation related, there are some provisions. For example, article 244, the special provisions for 5th and 6th scheduled areas. Two 44, 5th and 6th scheduled areas, special provisions for 5th and 6th scheduled areas. 330, reservation in parliament, scheduled tribe reservation, article 330. And also 332, reservation state legislature. Based on population, reservation in state legislature. Then 243D, reservation in panchayats. (243D), reservation in panchayats. So, these are all provisions in the constitution, and also we can talk about article 46, the the state shall endeavor to provide facilities for the economic and educational interests of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other vulnerable section. Economic and educational interests of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other vulnerable sections. Okay, very clearly mentioned the economic and educational interests of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other vulnerable section. That is article 46. So, scheduled tribe is clearly mentioned. Similarly, article 275, grants in aid, one talks about the scheduled tribe areas, the scheduled areas and the scheduled tribe, grants in aid for the welfare of, grants in aid for the welfare of scheduled tribes. And 335, it talks about appointment in services. If the government feels that, if the president feels that the members are not sufficiently represented in government, there is provision. That is how the reservation for scheduled tribes in the government, that is provided through article 335. That is a directive to the state saying that if the number of if there is not enough members represented in the government, there should be a provision for that also. 335 talks about that. Anyway, so these are some of the provisions of the what you call the constitutional provisions where scheduled tribes are clearly mentioned. Some of the areas where scheduled tribes are clearly mentioned. Now, coming to this scheduled areas and tribal areas, that is article I have clearly mentioned that 244 deals with the scheduled areas. So, coming to this, one second. So, let me talk about the scheduled areas, that is the 5th schedule areas. So, let me talk about the scheduled areas, and 5th schedule is dealt by 244(1). And 6th schedule by 244(2). Okay. And in the scheduled areas, so it says 244 in the 5th, as I said, it's an area approach. Okay, the scheduled areas, 5th schedule area, 6th schedule area, 244(1) and 244(2). So, 5th schedule areas are 244(1) of the, it defines a scheduled area. So, coming to the 5th schedule, the 5th schedule, as an area as the President by order may declare, an area as the President, an area as the President may by order declare, by order declare to be scheduled areas, as an area as the President may by order declared to be scheduled area after consultation with the governor of the state. So, 5th schedule area will be known as scheduled area, very important, please note, it will be declared as scheduled area. The President of India, article 244(1) says President of India can declare any area as scheduled area, that is article 244(1), and 244(2) says the President can declare any area as tribal area. So, 244(2) says the President may by order declare any area as tribal areas. So, please understand 244(1) talks about scheduled areas, 244(2) talks about tribal areas. So, both are different now, even though in both tribal communities are living. Scheduled areas also tribal community is living, tribal area also tribal communities are living, but there is a distinction, I will come to that. So, the 6th schedule is about tribal area and 5th schedule is about the scheduled area, and this scheduled in the tribal areas, please note, there is a provision for a district or regional autonomous councils. The difference is, if it is declared as a tribal area under the 6th schedule, there is a provision for district or regional autonomous council. There is a provision for regional or autonomous council. 6th schedule area, not in the 5th schedule area, please note. Okay. In the 5th schedule, it is not a scheduled area, I will come to that, but in the 6th schedule 244(2), the President may declare as an area as a tribal area, and there is a provision for district or regional autonomous council. And this coming to the 5th schedule areas or the scheduled area, article 244(1), and Which are the areas where it can be declared as a scheduled area? Number one, the condition is preponderance of tribal population, majority. There should be preponderance, or rather a substantial number of population should be tribal community members, number one. Number two, compactness and reasonable size of the area. Compactness and reasonable size of the area. This area should be compact enough and reasonable size should be there. Then only an area can be declared as a scheduled area. Okay. So, a district or a taluk, that is what we are looking. So, some viable, okay, a viable administrative entity, a compactness should be there. Number three, a viable administrative entity. A viable administrative entity such as a district, block or taluk, such as a district, block or taluk. It should be viable. And next point, fourth point, economic backwardness of the area as compared to the neighboring areas. Number four, economic backwardness compared to surrounding area. Economic backwardness compared to surrounding area. So, 4 points are required. One is majority, preponderance of tribal population. There is substantial tribal population in the region, preponderance of tribal population. Then compactness and reasonable size of the area, a viable administrative entity such as a district, taluk or a block. Economic backwardness compared to the surrounding regions. So, that these are the areas, or only in such places it can be declared. And fifth schedule areas, for your kind information, it is in the peninsular India. And of course, and in mainland India, not peninsular, even Himalayas, I mean the Himachal Pradesh also it is there, peninsular India, or in the, we can say the mainland India. So, we have scheduled areas, okay. So, we have scheduled areas, one second, in many states, one second. Yeah, it is in Andhra Pradesh, scheduled areas right now, where all we have the fifth schedule areas, fifth schedule areas right now. Number one, Andhra Pradesh, including Telangana. Number two, Himachal Pradesh. Okay, Himachal Pradesh. Number three, Gujarat. Orissa, Rajasthan, then Maharashtra, then Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh. Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, then as recently as in 2018, in Rajasthan, one more was added, a community or region has been added. Okay. So, there are in all these states, so we can say Andhra, Telangana, then Himachal, Gujarat, Orissa, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, then Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, like this. So, there are 11 scheduled areas right now. There are 11 scheduled areas. See, some of them are in 2 states. Say for example, there is a scheduled area, the state Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh order. Okay. So, at least 11 areas, I will not say 11 orders were issued. So, in various areas. Okay. So, there are many scheduled areas in all these states. So, how many states where 5th scheduled areas are there? If you go by this number, Andhra, Telangana, Himachal, Gujarat, Orissa, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh. So, in 10 states, the only Himalayan state where it is there is Himachal Pradesh. So, these are all 5th scheduled area region. Okay. These are all called the 5th scheduled area region, 5th scheduled area region. Now, and as I told you, the latest addition is in 2018 in Rajasthan, the latest in 2018 in Rajasthan. Then what are the provisions? Okay, what are the provisions or benefits of the scheduled areas? First of all, scheduled areas have certain distinct provisions. Number 1, the governor of the state which has the scheduled area is empowered to make regulations in respect of certain, the governor can make certain regulations. Number 1, the governor of such states can make certain regulations. Okay. So, governor of the states or such states can make certain regulations, number 1. Number 2, the governor can prohibit transfer of land from tribals. Governor can prohibit transfer of land from tribals. See, especially in these in a peninsular India, central Indian belt, one big problem is the tribals losing their land. Outsiders will come and manipulate and they take away the land of the tribal communities. So, that is why the governor can regulate the transfer of land from tribals to non-tribals. Then number 3, regulate the business of money lending to the members of the scheduled tribes. Governor can restrict, the governor can restrict the business of money lending to the tribes, can restrict the business of money lending to the tribes, very important. Then also the governor by public notification direct that any particular act of the parliament, very important, this is a very, very important one, please note carefully, the governor can notify that any act of parliament or state legislature, okay, any act passed by the parliament or by the state legislature, the governor can declare that such a law or an act will not be applicable to a scheduled area, will not be applicable. The governor can declare, can notify and say that such an act passed by the parliament or the state legislature will not be applicable to the scheduled areas. It will not be applicable, shall not be applicable to the scheduled areas. So, that is a big power. See, any law passed by the parliament or any law passed by the state legislature, the governor can declare that law is not applicable to my scheduled area. Okay. So, that is something very big. Then also the governor should report to the president on a periodic manner. Okay. The fifth point, the governor should give a report. Governor has a power to report to the president regarding the steps taken, the welfare of the scheduled areas. Then a sixth point is, under the fifth scheduled areas, there can be a tribal or tribes advisory council. There can be tribes advisory council should be established, okay, in the scheduled areas, and this will not be and scheduled areas, and they should be giving advice to the government, and the of which they should not be, should consist not more than 20 members, not more than tribes advisory council, not more than 20 members, and 3/4 of them should be from the representative of the scheduled tribe in the legislative assembly. Out of 3/4 should be MLAs from the scheduled tribes. Okay. The MLAs from the scheduled tribes in the state assembly, 3/4 of them should be members of the should be the MLAs from the scheduled tribes in that state. And also a seventh point I would like to add, the Panchayats Extension of Scheduled Areas Act 1996, the PISA Act, the Panchayats Extension of Scheduled Areas Act 1996, the Panchayats Extension of Scheduled Areas Act 1996 were extended to the scheduled area. I mean, whether the Panchayati Raj Act will be extended to scheduled areas and all, it has been the PISA Act is extended to the scheduled areas, and it also contains special provisions for the benefit of the scheduled tribe. The PISA Act has special provisions for the scheduled tribes in the Panchayati Raj Act. Okay, this is in the Panchayati Raj system, in the Panchayati Raj system. So, these are some of the provisions in the fifth schedule area. So, the governor has lot of power. The governor can regulate money lending, governor can regulate the sale of property from tribes to the other communities, governor can constitute a tribes advisory council. So, lot of powers to the governor, so that these areas can be administered in a better fashion to have faster development. That is the aim of the fifth schedule areas, and fifth schedule areas are in central India or peninsular India and in Himachal Pradesh. 10 states I have already listed down. These are the 10 states where fifth schedule areas are located. Now, coming to the sixth schedule areas, and I already told you 6 schedule areas are known as tribal areas, fifth schedule areas are known as scheduled areas, tribal areas. 6th schedule are tribal areas, and the President of India can notify, and in this very important 6th schedule is the tribal areas and an autonomous district council an autonomous or a district council, not more than 30 members can be set up with not more than district council with not more than 30 members can be constituted, and these council members are elected, whereas the tribes advisory council, the 5th schedule, they are not elected because they are already MLAs, they are members here, 3/4 of them should be the MLAs. But here the tribes autonomous council or the district council, they are elected, and they have the power of legislation, administration of justice, they have the power. This autonomous council has some powers in legislation, administration of justice, that means some judicial powers, administration, and some executive powers. They have legislative power, they have administration of justice power and some executive powers, and also some financial responsibilities. They have some financial responsibilities also. So, they have the power for legislation, power to administer justice, some executive powers including financial responsibilities are given. Autonomous council, elected members, 30 members, and these 6 schedule areas are in 4 states in northeastern states. Okay, 4 northeastern states have 6 schedule area. Now, Ladakh region, they are demanding 6 schedule status, the autonomous council in Ladakh. Anyway, so in Assam, there are 3 6 schedule areas. One is the North Kachar Hill district. Then the Karbi Anglong district. Then the Bodoland Territorial Area district. Okay, the North Kachar Hill district. See, now what is happening is these tribal areas we are identifying. See, already in some of these states, they are already having lot of tribal communities. Now, some of the particular communities we want to protect them from the other tribal communities also. See, in Meghalaya, for example, it is 95% of the state are tribal communities, but then distinct tribes are there. So, we want to have distinct autonomous councils, distinct autonomous councils. So, Assam, North Kachar Hill district, Karbi Anglong district and Bodoland Territorial Area district, 3 6 schedule areas in Assam. Similarly, in Meghalaya, Khasi Hill district, Jaintia Hill district, Jaintia Hill district, and also the third one, that is the Garo Hill district. Khasi, Jaintia, Garo, 3 hills, 3 different communities and 3 different hill districts, autonomous council there. So, even though the whole Meghalaya, if you take majority of the population, more than 80% of the population are tribes, even then we have distinct tribal autonomous bodies, because Khasi culture is different from Jaintia and Jaintia culture is different from the Garo culture. So, they want to protect these individual communities properly, that is why the autonomous council. So, these tribal areas are within the tribal belt, identified separately because of their uniqueness, and each tribal community should be given enough protection to protect their culture, their individual culture. Similarly, in the Tripura, there is a Tripura Tribal Autonomous District. Tripura Tribal Autonomous District, and finally in Mizoram. See, Mizoram again, Mizoram is, if you take the whole state, more than 90% may be tribal communities, Mizos, but there are other communities also. For example, we have a Chakma district. These Chakma communities are Indian Chakmas, not the Bangladeshi Chakma community we talked about in the article 21 and all. They are Indian communities. They are in the within India, they were staying here. They are distinctly, or they are distinct from even the Bangladeshi, from the Chittagong hill tracts, different. The Chakma district, hill district or autonomous district. Similarly, we have the Mara district. Then the Lai district. 3 distinct autonomous councils in Mizoram, 3 in Meghalaya, 3 in Assam, 1 in Tripura. So, 10 autonomous districts, 10 autonomous districts under the 6th schedule. More and more demands are coming. For example, in Leh, the community there are asking for 6th schedule status. In Arunachal Pradesh recently 2 districts or other, there is a demand for converting into 6th schedule districts in Arunachal Pradesh. Even in the Gurkhaland region and all, they were demanding hill district status or 6th schedule status, autonomous council. Anyway, so these are the provision, or these are the provision in the 6th schedule areas are known as tribal areas. That is to give additional protection to the tribal communities even though they are living in a tribal belt. Whereas in the 5th schedule areas, our main focus is on protecting the communities from the other outsiders, but here this to protect communities from other fellow tribal communities because of the distinctiveness of their culture. And these district autonomous councils are empowered to make rules, and with the approval of the governor, of course, and they are regarding the matter, they can make rules regarding the matter of establishment of and construction of maybe roads in their region, the markets, then the schools, primary schools, cattle ponds. They can make rules and regulations in respect of roads, markets, primary schools, say cattle ponds, then fisheries, transport, etc. And they also have certain judicial power, and the council is also being conferred under the Civil Procedure Code and Criminal Procedure Code, CPC and CRPC. Some provisions are given for a smooth conduct of that community. So, that is why a lot of legislative power, administrative power, financial power, they can even collect some taxes. That is why all these communities are demanding 6th schedule status.